So it's very early for you, right? Or very late?
Very late, but it's okay. I'm all rugged up, so I'm good to go.
Okay.
So you got a lot of coffee?
I've done my coffee, so I'm ready to go.
Okay, man. Hey, well, welcome. SK, is that your real name or?
It's Steven actually. SK is just my initials, so that's what most people used to call me. So it's the letter S and the letter K, so SK is just phonetically spelt.
Okay, well then, people on Twitter will call you SK, I think. So let's call you SK.
And that's
So,
fine.
so how are you doing? How was your day today? Are you busy promoting?
Yes. Oh no, no. I'm today is Monday, so it's back to normal routine. So I've got I actually had a report due today for work, so I had to get that through first. And I like most people, I'm working from home nowadays.
Yeah.
I do the I've got little girls. So I do the morning the pickup and the drop off for her, so
Mhm.
for school. So
Busy,
it's
busy, busy.
back to normal days. Yourselves, what do you guys get up to today?
Well, today is my day off. Well, day off. I have a lot of stuff to do, and tomorrow I have to work again. But I also work in the weekends. So yesterday and Saturday I have to work. So they gave me a free day off. No, I just have a day off today. And yeah, I thought to myself, because I told you that we should stream, and I saw that your campaign 6 days left, and I said, oh man, can I manage that? And I have a lot of other projects and have to work, etc.
Oh
And then
man, thank you so much. Oh, by the way, what do
yeah,
I call both of you? So Marinus, is that how do you want me to
yeah,
pronounce your name?
Marinus. It's
Yeah.
it's okay.
And
And I
base,
am
what do you
Jeroen, but it's a very
Yoon?
typical Dutch name. Most other
Yeah,
countries can't pronounce it, so Base Marine is fine.
base marine. I'll
Yes.
I'll do my best. Marinus and base marine.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. So, SK, tell about your project, because I have my project, my computer on this side, and
Yeah.
I'm streaming here from my laptop. Transhuman, RIVKA story. And you had already 4 campaigns. So how
Yeah.
or Stephen, maybe Stephen is that bit a little better.
Yes, Stephen's fine as well. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Stephen, your project, maybe you can tell a little bit about it?
Oh, look, transhuman is a very cyberpunk term. So there's two terms that I think a lot of people, especially if you like that type of science fiction. One is post-human, and the other term is transhuman. So post-human is humanity evolved to a state where um, it's unrecognizable. So you're talking about the man in the machine, like you upload your consciousness into an AI. So the body is no longer there.
Okay.
Or you've evolved yourself to those you've seen it where the aliens with the big heads, the small arms, the small
Wait.
feet, because as humanity grows, you don't need the body anymore, so the head grows really big. And so there's a lot of what they call post-humanism, where it's gone beyond the body already. And transhumanism is usually that in-between point where you'll still retain a lot of your human elements, but a lot of the different parts of the bodies have been replaced. So you're talking about cyborgs or stuff like that. So that's very much transhumanism.
Yeah.
And the reason it's called RIVKA story is basically it's RIVKA. She's the main character there, and she's been caught in an explosion. She's lost her arm, her eye in a year, and she's been augmented and been parts of her have been replaced. So one of the things that has also been done is she had a neural implant. So that's how she communicates with her different cybernetics. And you see the neural implants almost like a mobile phone in her head. So she'll get when she comes home, she'll get a message in her head saying "Welcome home" and that type of thing. So she's halfway to that post-humanism, man in the machine type scenario.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very interesting story, because I saw your campaign on Indiegogo a lot, coming on, and
Yeah.
I read the story, and then it's more like like you say, it's because you call it transhuman, and the first thought that I have when people have
Yeah.
bionic implants,
Yeah.
I mean, that's almost a reality now. I hear.
Yeah.
They're turned into quote unquote cyborgs, but you call it transhuman. And the way that you told it how the transhuman works, it is very interesting. How did you come up with this story? I mean, for instance, when we talking about post-human, right?
Yeah.
We are evolving because I believe in evolution. I'm not a
Yeah.
religious person. When we just came to be from the apes, people are hairy, big, have a big forehead. That's all gone. And now we are still getting longer, we're getting smaller, we're getting less hair, in my opinion. And maybe it's true what you say, Stephen, that one day we don't have any hair anymore. I mean, people getting bald, the cranium is getting bigger and bigger. That's a very interesting concept. How did you come up with this?
I actually did work for a hearing aid company. So, and one thing I don't know if you know is your hearing degrades over time.
Yes.
And because it happens so subtly, it's not like one day you wake up and you can't hear anything. It just you start losing what they call your frequency range. So you start losing listening skill on your left and your right, and eventually you can only hear things that are kind of in the middle of your frequency range. So what happens is when if you take away that limitation, and what they do is when they put hearing aids and implants into certain people, one of the biggest thing people talk about is, oh my God, when I hear that song, I can hear bits of the song I haven't heard before because it happens so subtly over time. They're going, and then when suddenly it's repaired, they're going, oh my God, that song had a beat, or that song had a saxophone playing in the background, or that's a bit extreme, but you know what I mean? They start hearing all these things that they couldn't hear before. So one of the concepts that came out of it is, what if you could extend that beyond the normal range? What if you could start seeing ultraviolet light? You could start seeing X-rays. What if you could start hearing what dogs hear? That ultrasonic range.
Right.
What is the human perception of that? And there's another concept behind it, like I think the color cyan doesn't exist. It just does not exist. And what I mean about that is, in terms of a frequency, a light frequency, it exists, it's out there. But your brain only has, your eye only has three real receptors, three real cones behind it. The cones cannot process the color cyan. So what happens is your brain basically picks a color at random, and that's your color cyan in your head.
Oh, really?
So the whole concept behind it is, what happens if you do have, the cones in your eye to process the color cyan? What would it really be like? Because currently now, your cyan, it will be totally different to my cyan, just because your brains picked the color, my brains picked the color, and that's what we perceive it to be.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that at all. Okay, so this basically a lot of this what's in the book is based on real science.
Oh yeah, definitely. So I love grounded science. Look, you probably can tell I love grounded science fiction.
Yeah,
I love science fiction.
Yeah.
Like there's another concept you probably know is, if your brain didn't process it properly, you have a blind spot in your eye. Everybody has a blind spot in your eye where the optic nerve hits from the retina to the optic nerve to your brain. So that part of the eye is blind. But so technically, if you're looking around, you should see a big black hole just right in the middle of your vision. But what happens is your brain goes, no, that's probably not so good. So it makes it up. It takes data from the left, it takes data from the right, and it kind of just jumbles it together and goes, you know what? That's about right. That's how come you don't have a blind spot. But if you just took your senses as they are, that you should see a big hole every single time you look.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So if you scroll down to even the second cover, for example, everything I try to do, I mean, this is still science fiction, but I still like, for example, the gun that she's holding in that thing, that's a Tavor T21.
Yeah,
it's a real gun. It exists. So a lot of stuff which I do talk about, if you look at my previous campaign, say Terra Olympus, which is really more high sci-fi because of space station.
I missed that part. Really, I love it.
But that's based off a NASA design. Like, by the way, NASA gives everything anything you want to use from NASA, they give it for free, except the logo.
That's
you
cool.
can use anything from NASA except for the logo. they actually release all the images. So, like for example, the spaceship is a NASA design. Talk about artificial chlorophyll on how they use it. That's real world tech. And a lot of the stuff I discuss, I'm just taking real world tech and I'm just kind of just nudging it along. So if we scroll down a little bit more, like the main story which I do is very much the science versus ethics debate,
Yeah.
which is basically just because you can doesn't mean you should. So there is that discussion about the scientists going, man, you can get X-ray vision, you can get this and this and this, and then you get the preacher who's very much in the ethics of saying, you know what, should we be doing this? Uh, where do we stop? And what is humanity? So there is that debate that goes through, and that's the underlying conflict in the story, which is basically the which side is right. And I try my best in the story to not say which is wrong, which is right, but basically to present views to say,
you
here
know what
are the options.
Yeah.
And please just listen to both sides and decide what you feel is closer. And what I'm hoping for is when you finish reading it, that you get yourself stuck somewhere in the middle. And where the middle really is RIVKA, who's the cyborg, is probably the most human of the, she's not like the scientist who's very much driven by his ideology or the preacher is driven by his ideology. You get hopefully follow RIVKA, who you get driven by, you know what, I'm still a person. And that's how come a lot of her story is she still has her problems. She still, when she gets home for the day, she still, doesn't have a life. She still has a lot of personal issues to deal with. And it really doesn't matter that she's a cyborg or, half human. Her life isn't any better because of it. And that's the whole concept behind that. She's probably the most human character as she has to live a life. So you can see her in the next scene. She's coming home. She comes home to an empty house, and you read that she has some of the personal issues that she has to go to, and then you can see then she shuts down for the night. She enters her sleep mode.
Yes.
And then she still has nightmares of what happened to her that made her the way she is. And without getting too much into it, you find out that she had a daughter, and it goes into a lot of her story. So a lot of it, most of the stories I do write are very character driven. What I want you to do when you read through this is hopefully identify with one of these characters to go, you know what, that's very much like me. So that's the stories I really enjoy. Really good character driven sci-fi.
Real life emotions, and characters. I get that a lot. Yeah.
So you can see here, she has to try to disarm a bomb in this one case, and lucky for if you can keep scrolling down if you like, that's fine. But she doesn't get to disarm it in time. But where she does, she sacrifices parts of herself because it's a small bomb, so it was designed to maim rather than to kill. Wow. So she basically, look, I don't have time to disarm it. And she basically uses her body as to prevent it from hurting anybody else. But the good thing about the story as well is, look, it's not just characterization. There's a bit of action involved. So that's where I'm hoping the next couple of pages will be a bit more. There's a lot of fun in it as well. So there's a lot of fights. And it does amp up the action. Like, for example, the prologue shows a time in the army where she has to stop when she's on a covert mission. And it's a bit of fun as well. So there is a bit of action set pieces as well.
Yeah. I love the whole, humanization about this book. There's a lot of, like you said, real emotions, this could be real, right? And except when you read through it, there's a loss, there is a daughter, and there is you lose a limb, you are probably depressed, he's lonely, etc. That's all elements. I see that, and that's reflected in real life too, because people feel that way in real life too. So that's what I really like, and the whole sci-fi element, that's a nice added bonus, man. And the pages look really good, and also the colors and the shading, love it, man.
Oh, I forgot to mention the colors as well. So a lot, if the colors actually, because my last graphic novel was black and white. So
Yeah.
I was thinking, man, this is the first time I get to jump back into colors. So I don't know if you noticed, but anything that's where has the scientists involved has that very blue clinical color. Anything which there's conflict has a red type color. Anything which is
Okay.
when they're talking about ethics, and if you can go back to the pages, you will probably see it has that brown earthy colors. So you can like when there's conflict, let's see the fight that happens there is very red.
Yes. Yes.
All the scenes in the past have that really faded out sepia type color.
Oh, that's
And
a
you can see it
great
because her
choice.
life is not that good. It's that blue clinical stuff, and you can see this is where that's where she stops an assassination attempt on for the professor. It's very blue, but if you scroll up a little bit more, you can see where the preacher is. It's a very earthy brown color. So I hope when if you do read through it, that you will see. Please do take note of the colors because it's very intentional how the colors play out.
That's a good one, by the way. I love that part. I love that you thought about it so much. I mean, yeah, now that you say it, there's also a transition from the past and into the present. And like you said, here is it's blue. It's more sciencey, and it's more like technology. And then you go back to I believe a church or a monastery or something. And then it's all brown. It's more like going back into the past. So there's an earthly color. The expressions are way more different. I mean, the person who speaks on top of it is calm, explaining, very rational, and then we have the priest. He is more like emotional. He's against that. So there's conflict brewing. That's cool, man. That's really cool.
Thank you. Yes, so that we do our best to make sure that they like I want to make sure that everything that's there, they you can see the thought patterns behind a lot of the book. That what I'm really hoping it's just more than the surface level. If you scratch into it, you actually start. And I won't spoil everything, so that hopefully when someone does
please
read, and they start scratching on the surface, they'll start thinking, "Oh gosh, he really did think about this." Or if you try to make links into the story, hopefully you see a lot of the links that come through. So in terms of it, the other things I like is when I'm writing a story is I like to, as creators yourself, you probably know you don't and this is where movies and movies more, you don't have that much real estate because you've only got someone for about 2 hours when you do a movie, and as a creator, especially for this, I don't really know if there's going to be a volume 2 or volume 3 or volume 4, whatever. But you drop all the seeds for when you're required.
Right.
So in this one, there's a lot of foreshadowing. So everything that gets mentioned, I do my best to try to close it off, or at least have a reference to it. For example, like if you watch a movie and somebody puts a ring on the table, instantly you know there is something that needs to happen out of that because you don't have much real estate in terms of timing, so you have to play with all the cards you've got. So again, I try my best to have everything linked up. There's probably in this particular story, there's probably 3 big plot lines running through it. I do my best to try to close off all the plot lines. I do leave some seeds for future volumes, but in most cases, I really hope when you guys do it, it's just you get a satisfying, satisfying story from A to Z, basically.
Yeah, man. So it's basically a one shot with a possible opening for maybe something else in the future, because when you go back to your previous campaign, Stephen. So there's I don't recall the first 2 because I wasn't there here on Twitter and on Indiegogo then. Is there also a theme with your work, with your writing? I mean, is it more your last one, the in space? I forgot the name.
It's Terra Olympus. So
Terra Olympus. It has a science. It has space. It has science fiction, I believe, a little bit.
Yeah, so that one is basically humanity. The rest of all of humanity is aboard a space station now. So it's very much the if you watch shows like Babylon 5 or Deep
Yes.
Space Nine, it has a
Yes.
lot of that type of thematic feels to it. Um, it does talk a little bit about the end of the Earth and how it comes about. And um, I can't spoil it so far because I think in volume 3 or 4 you actually find out what did happen to Earth. So I'm keeping that one up my sleeve a little bit. But
Okay.
again, it's very much character-driven stories as well. So in that case, and it takes the point of view from an engineer. So I know in most of those sci-fi stories you get the view from
You're,
the captain of the ship or soldier or something like
yeah.
that. You get that
Yeah.
type of viewpoint. But I was thinking, like, if you're in a space station, actually the most fun you have would be an engineer because things break. It's that dirty sci-fi, which isn't like Star Trek, which everything's clean and neat. It's, man, things break and you just have to clutch solutions into place. You just, oh gosh, that's broken. What spare? If you look at a lot of Apollo missions, if
Mm-hmm.
back early NASA days, when there's a problem, they have to go, okay, these astronauts are going to die if we can't solve the problem. On this table is all the equipment to get access to: a hose, a plastic bag, paper
Yeah.
clip.
They have to fix it up. Right.
How can they fix this just using these bits of equipment? And it's there's that concept involved where you know what it's dirty, it's not clean, it's man, you have to figure stuff out, and I like it. Um, it does run through with Terra Olympus. It runs through a lot of what network engineering.
Mm-hmm.
So you talk about brute force attacks. You talk about high availability. So, like for example, high available servers, so that if one system breaks, do you have a redundant system? So it goes through a lot of system and network design. So that's where I have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah. I saw that it comes. I love the black and white. Maybe a strange question, but do you offer Terra Olympus in this campaign as well? Maybe in the future, or for
Not in this particular campaign, but what I do is I don't go in demand in most cases because
oh no.
what I like to do is I like to bring out the next volume. And if you notice, if you get Terra Olympus, you'll get access to Volume 1. So if there's going to be a Transhuman Volume 2, you'll get access to Transhuman Volume 1. So I try to make
Yeah.
it that the back catalog is always available with the next campaign.
Yeah. So basically, you are saying you are eager to get the next chapter in your work out there. I mean, you want to show people, hey man, this is my next project. Listen, this is what I've done. I've been to 4 projects. It's been funded. You get your book. Here's the 5th one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you want to scroll down a little bit more, I'll show you where I have my fun when I'm doing some of the writing. And there's the, it's a bit smaller, but it's still bit.
Yeah.
I don't know if you get much of it, but do you guys get like Ultimate Fighting UFC or MMA where you guys are?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna, please don't judge me. I'm a huge Ronda Rousey fan. So she was the one who really brought female MMA to the forefront, I think.
Absolutely.
She was in movies. She was on every magazine cover. Like she was huge.
Yeah.
And her signature move is, and I always think that if you get into a real fight, it's not like the old 80s movies, like, the Van Dammes or the Stallones, where you spend 10 minutes just punching each other, It doesn't always work that way because in most fights, the winner is usually the best grappler. So the one who can either get you on the ground, lock you away, that's the one who usually wins.
Yeah.
So a lot of the fight scenes I do, I like there's a little bit of MMA tinge to it. So if you notice on the right, the guy is doing a single leg takedown and moving straight into an armbar.
Yeah.
So, and again, if you watch a lot of MMA fights, especially Ronda Rousey, that's her move. So again, even with fight scenes, I try to make it as realistic as possible.
Yeah, and grounded. Yeah.
Yeah, these are real. If you were getting to fight, these are how you would fight.
Yeah, I love the motion from the first shot that you're going to punch that guy, the whole body, swinging with that. A lot of aggression, a lot of power. and he's getting knocked over. It's really cool to see, man.
Yeah. Oh,
Beautiful,
thank
dude.
you. But
Yeah.
yeah, so when I do this with the artists, I have a lot of fun because we're sending clips back and forth. It's like, oh man, have you seen this fight clip? And you send the YouTube clip in, and he sends
Implement
it
it
back
here
to
right
me,
now. Yeah.
going, oh gosh, wait, can we do this clip instead? And it's a lot of fun there.
Yeah.
And so it's all been all these pages have all been colored and finished off now. But if you scroll down a little bit more, you see the prologue page, which is we got another artist, Sebastian Navas, to do it. So if we scroll down the page a little bit,
Yes.
and it's a bit of fun in this page. So there's a
Cool.
guy behind a wooden structure, and Rivka, rather than going around the structure, punches away through the structure. So I do. One of my favorite movies is RoboCop. So
Oh,
I have taken a lot of hints from RoboCop.
he's
There's one
Dutch, by
scene.
the way, the director. Paul Verhoeven.
Oh,
Yeah.
so there's one scene in RoboCop. I don't know if you remember when he first gets deployed, where the guy saying, "I want a chopper. I want this money. I want everything," and RoboCop goes behind him the wall and just reaches through the wall and grabs him.
Yeah.
So I do have a lot of fun with it, and most of what I was trying to say is, as much fun as the book is thematic and it is character driven, there are still some fighting elements. It's still a lot of fun, and it's still hopefully that good mix where uh, you can enjoy you enjoy the book and you also can enjoy the action.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I mean, Base Marine pointed me out. He said, "Hey, I'm a fan of this book, and you should check it out." And then I checked it out,
Yeah.
and then well, at the same time you approached me. So,
Yeah.
Base Marine, maybe you can say something about it. I mean, this is what you brought me this to my attention. So,
Yeah, I found it on Kickstarter actually,
Yeah.
before it was on Indiegogo.
you're a little bit quiet. Can you turn up the volume a little bit? That's possible.
It's at its hardest, so
Oh, really?
it's,
Okay. Oh, no problem. So go ahead, man.
I'll check for the sound settings, but
Yeah, normally you are speaking a little bit, have the better volume, but could be me.
Oh, there is one thing I'm hoping it does work.
that's the wrong one. Is this better?
Yeah, a little bit.
And it's this or this?
I don't notice any difference. It doesn't matter. As long as we can hear you.
Yeah.
But hey, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I found it on Kickstarter, like I said, and yeah, I really liked it right away. It was very interesting. I'm also a little bit of the sci-fi stuff and all that. I have a whole closet full of Star Wars books and all that. So
Oh man, yeah. He's a sci-fi buff, man. Yeah.
yeah, and it really interested me because the how do I say this? Wait, I'll.
Google
Well,
Translate.
yeah, you have here the campaign itself as well, so it doesn't really matter if it's Kickstarter or Indiegogo, right?
Right.
But yeah, I. How do you say that? Yeah, I get a lot of new information here today, so
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
it's yeah it was really interesting to see the art and read the little bit of information that was there. That was very yeah humanity and sci-fi comes together and what will that world be and how will that look, and that was very interesting to me, and also the almost painting like coloring
Yes.
it really intrigued me. So
Yeah.
yeah, I looked a few times at the campaign. I promoted the Kickstarter as well back then, so
Oh, thank you so much. I
and
appreciate that.
in the meantime also the mailing list for the Indiegogo. And then I mentioned it to Darkside, Marine is here, and yeah,
Yeah.
he looked at it as well, and we talked about it a few times. But it's really interesting because these this is a book with a view on certain things that you never really think about. It's just
Exactly.
like you said here on the stream as well, like with the as well the color choice, but also with the hearing and the vision and all that. It's it's normal to us. You don't think about it. You don't look at it. It just happens. And yeah, to have something like that be shown in a book that also looks interesting
Makes
and
you think.
yeah, packed with action.
Yeah.
It's yeah, it's a really new take on what you can do with comics as well. So
Yeah, I agree.
I
Look,
really like that.
I'm huge on comics as a medium rather than just a. I think it's really important, and like same like Dark Side, um, it seems to, and this is actually much more a US thing, where comics are automatically associated with superheroes. I
Exactly.
think it's a very much US centric thing.
Yeah.
But I never grew up that way. I grew up. I'm from. I read Chinese comics, which has kung fu stories. And if you ever read Japanese manga, man, they use it just as a medium. There's books in thing about cooking. Cookbooks
Yeah.
basically written as comics. Tennis. Any story you want to tell, they just use it as the medium, and they use the medium so well. And it's really good to see. I know Indiegogo and Kickstarter are still very US centric, but it's really good to see that as a platform to tell stories beyond that superhero genre. To go, you know what? I can tell a story which it's same with yours. It's a horror story. Um, and if you even go back not that many years, you're talking about 30, 40 years. Um, Marvel and DC both started out like DC was
Before.
a detective comics
Yeah.
before Batman became popular. It was a crime. It was a crime comic. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? And it's really good to see that return to those type of stories where I can tell you a story just using the medium as opposed to um, it has to be superheroes. And in this isn't a, and it's really, I love it. I love that the genre is now going back to, hey, tell a story, use the medium rather than it being superhero centric.
It's very good that you say, Stephen, because this book makes me think a lot about other different things. Because we are so, just like Base Marine said, we are living in an age that technology is going to stride very fast in a different way, and we have prosthetics now, and we have glasses that people with who are
Yeah,
colorblind can see color, right?
yeah,
With hearing problems, with vision problems. I mean, I'm using a glasses, but I have also lenses.
yeah.
These are lenses are just like hearing. It's a form of technology, and we are now going when people who are don't let's say don't have limbs anymore. They have now, or they will be, could be having prosthetic or a mechanical arm, and that is what you are doing. But we are living in an age that is quote unquote so normal that is things are happening. But you making a story about it, hey, I have an implant, I have X-ray vision, and we have a prosthetic arm, and maybe other things. And that
Yeah.
is so cool, man, that you have implemented that in a comic book because, yeah, we are. This is normal for us, but you are making a story that is very interesting because
Oh,
is
thank
it
you.
cool or is it acceptable?
Yeah,
You know
but the
what?
difference is that those things that are changing right now, everybody is looking at it these days, at least for now, like, oh, something happened to him. He has a prosthetic arm, or oh, something happened to his eye, and oh, it's so sad and all that. And a story like this can actually make things like that uh, almost cool. It's yeah, she gets by on those prosthetics and yeah, everything that's happened to her, but she can just still function as a normal, or
Exactly.
Yep.
as
No,
a
she still has also normal problems there.
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, I
and
just
it's very
realized
cool
actually.
to show that. So
Yeah. Blackheart Manor. I was going to mention this earlier. You've got Gilbert to help you on Blackheart Manor, if I
Yeah.
remember. Gilbert wrote Galactic Rodents of Mayhem,
Yes.
and Sebastian Navas, who did the artwork for that, is actually the
So
artist for the prologue for this.
Yeah, I saw that. I won't mention it first because maybe you want to add something, but yeah,
No, no, I love it. I love that it's such a small world that
yeah,
and
it's
like Sebastian
cool.
he like, I give him huge prop. He's one of the nicest guys.
I mean,
He's from Uruguay. You know what I mean? It's just such a small world that um, people can interact this way. Like I think I just like the idea of such an interconnected world.
yeah, me
Oh,
too. I mean, it's so small world. I mean, we come from every parts of the world, and then, hey, that artist that I know, and he did the same art as, as that from Gilbert. So it's so great. I mean, yeah, no, yeah, Gilbert is also a great writer. He's very
yeah,
passionate, just like you are. I can see and I can hear in your voice that you are 100% behind this. You know, doing what you are doing now and come and create this. It's not very for us Europeans. It's not very expensive either when it comes to shipping. I
yeah.
mean, I just looked at it. We pay when it comes to dollars, $13, and the book itself is, in my opinion, not very expensive.
Look,
And,
it's 60 pages. It's
yeah,
a full color. It's perfect bound, so it has a spine, so it's not a
cool.
floppy.
Nice.
And I think I do mention I'm a big paper snob. My thing when I print is I want you to get it, and I want you to really how do you say it? I want it so that it lasts. So in my case is when you get it, quality will last. It won't rip. If you know anything about paper quality, so normal
Yeah,
printing paper is about 80 GSM. The paper in here is 150 glossy, so it's double. No, each piece of paper is twice as thick as normal glossy, and the cover is 250 cardstock. So this is it will last. And if you touch anybody does get a paper a physical copy and you touch the paper, you know exactly what I mean. It will
yeah,
last. If you want to scroll to the rewards, I can run you through some of the stuff that's
yeah.
there.
Sell us the rewards, man. Come on, Steven, let's do it.
Uh, Scroll right down to the end. So scroll down the page, and there's a whole reward section which I run through.
Yeah,
So the PDF tier, if anybody gets the PDF, it's the rewards kind of stack one on the other. So if you get one, basically you get everything from before it as well. So the PDF tier is basically what I was really glad is quite a few creators have donated their digital copies of their books. You'll get, I think, by the end of it, more than this. So there's currently 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You'll probably get about 10 different PDFs by the end of it, which should come up to about 300 pages of reading
yeah, I
just
see
from
it.
the
Wow.
PDF. So you get a lot. Like each 5 seconds is about 60 pages already. So just from the top row, there's close to 250 pages of reading just on that top row alone.
Yeah,
So you
so
get a
5 seconds, is that only because I've seen here on my PC here? Was that also a print, or was this always digital and then you
Oh
know?
no,
Oh,
that was a print. So I was very lucky. So 5 seconds is one of the first trilogies I've wrote. The whole concept again. I love all this. You take real world and you extend it a little bit. It's basically about the protagonist Jake, who has the ability to see 5 seconds into the future. So it's not enough for him to change huge outcomes, but it's enough for him to make it interesting. Like he'll notice, oh, I'm going to trip, so I'll take the step to the left. That type of thing. So
hmm.
that's why it's called 5 seconds, because he's got a time window of 5 seconds to affect the next outcome. So
Wow. You mentioned while dating a girl, and you know exactly what she's gonna say. Hmm.
exactly, you know
Oh,
what she's going to order beforehand, so you can be cool and um,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's a bit of fun. So if you scroll down a bit more, then you have the choice between the two covers. The main and the variant.
Yeah. I love both.
And
Yeah.
the other thing would be is I got a Italian artist actually, Elena. On I'm gonna probably Ominity. So she did a small little grayscale thing. So
Minetti.
it's Ominity. It's just a bit of a dad joke, really. She doesn't have a hand, so she's asking you, "Do you need a hand?" It's a bit of a dad joke in that one. Um, just so you get that with the main cover. The cool thing about this one would be it's a small trading card. You keep it with you, and this is something that's a nice little perk. You get it with the
Yes.
physical copy. The next thing you get, if you scroll down a bit more, is you get some prints, which are about A5 size, so it's about the size of a postcard, and you get both of them. So one of them is the banner picture, and the other one is by a Malaysian artist, Wallace, who's done some work for me in the past as well.
Where did you get those people? I mean, that's so cool. I
Oh,
mean,
no, reach
yeah.
out to me, and I'm happy to make it. Just as a heads up, if you're going to Google Elena, do it from your home. She does a lot of not safe for work artwork. I mean,
Okay.
they're absolutely gorgeous artwork, and please look these people up. But with Elena's case, don't do it from your work PC.
Yeah, I will do that. I mean,
That's the only thing I do. Do it from your home PC, just not from your work PC, because you might get a little bit of trouble for that. But the one good thing is that Sebastian, who the Grom artist, which he did for me, is original artwork. So when you bid for one of the original artwork tiers, you get a copy of both books and everything, but you also get this piece of original artwork. This is done by watercolor and inks. So you can kind of see. By the way, if anybody has never bought original artwork before, just make this clear. You don't get original artwork in mint condition. You just don't, because if I put a bit of water like watercolor on a piece of paper, the paper will crinkle. So that's original artwork for you. You get the phrase, you get how the artist kept it. So it's not perfect, but when you frame it, it's still going to look absolutely brilliant, because you can see in the Supergirl, you can see where the cape is, because that's watercolor. You can see that where the paper almost ripples a little bit.
Yeah.
That's how you can tell that's original, because if I just did a print, it would be absolutely smooth and perfect.
Yeah.
But if you buy the original, you'll see the imperfections, which actually make it special.
Oh, how will the original be shipped? Is that in a tube or in?
No, it's A4 size. So the good thing about it, I usually back it between a really hard piece of cardboard.
Right.
I shove some stuff in there, and it will get to you in good condition. But yeah, I just want to make sure that, because I had someone come back to me and says, "Oh, wow, this artwork isn't in mint condition." I'm going, well, it's actually not the shipping. It's kind of the way it is, because when original artwork comes, it's if you ever buy original pencils from artists, you'll notice smudges and where the stuff happens, because there is no cleanup. Usually they do the cleanup digitally and stuff now.
Yeah.
So Supergirl has unfortunately been bought already, and Elena's original artwork, if you scroll down below, that was done with inks. That's also been basically that's been bought as well. So I think there's 3 left if you're interested, but the Supergirl and the Grayscale artwork have been bought.
So cool, man! Really. And you, I saw that you already, how do you say this? Sold out RIVKA's in future tier from 199 US Australian dollars.
Yeah.
So that's already sold out. That's cool.
So the 2 that I've sold out, if you scroll up a bit more, so every original artwork tier has the featured tier, which is basically both books and basically every single reward and the original artwork. So 2 of those have gone already. So
that's great.
If anybody's interested, there's still a couple left.
Yeah, Power Girl, Elektra, Batgirl.
So Supergirl's gone, and you can see Psylocke's still available. So.
Oh man, Elektra looks good with the hair. I love the hair flow. It's really cool.
Oh look, and Sebastian, look. I think it'd be really sad for me, actually, because Sebastian's sending all this stuff to me, and then I gotta pack it up and send it to somebody else when I don't want to.
Yeah. Well, that is what you do. So what tier did you want people to have? What is the most tier that they have it all, The
look, if you like original artwork, definitely go for one of the original artwork tiers. But all the original artwork includes the featured tier. So if you scroll up, right to the top, the featured tier. Basically, the featured tier is you get both covers. You can see you get the PDF pack, you get both covers, you get and the A5 prints. So basically, you get all the rewards except for the original artwork.
Well,
So
that's
that's
not a
the
bad
big
deal.
here.
I think that's
Yeah.
not a bad deal at all. I mean, when you combine it with the variant cover and the A5, I think that's
Again,
great.
you're looking at 60 pages. It's a
Yeah,
graphic novel. It's not a floppy.
no, exactly. So, Base Marine, what do you say? It's great, right?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. I love this, man.
One question though. I
Yeah.
saw that you started on October 10th on Indiegogo. Are you
Yeah.
going to extend it for another 30 days, or are you just gonna let it end in 6 days?
Oh, look, it depends. So what's happening is, as you can probably imagine, in the background, I'm doing all the graphics, all the layouts. Oh, look, if it's okay, if you let me share my screen for 1 second,
Sure.
I do want to show you something. So
Okay.
share, I'm sending you the request.
And then here it comes.
Okay, so for example, so this is the artwork. This is the prologue. It's again, you saw in the campaign that this was still in sketch form, but this is now the completed one. So I'm still doing a lot of these stuff in the background. Trying to get everything finished. So you can kind of see here.
It looks awesome, man.
Yeah. So this is
Oh,
the
there's
scene
the wall scene.
when she punches through
Wow. Yeah,
the wall,
colors
and
pop.
so you can see her that she communicates through her cybernetics. Yeah, so we're still doing a lot of these background stuff. So I'll stop sharing for a second.
No.
She's still doing a lot of. I'm still doing a lot of these background works, and it really depends. If I get all the stuff finished and get it ready for print, that's kind of where I'll end it. Because once I get the first print run, I would like to get a solid number of how many I need to make, and that's kind of where I'm going to end it. And I'm almost at that point. So, but look, I would say if you're interested in this, to all the people who are listening, don't take it that I'm going to extend it, because I may not, and it's probably not going to go in demand as well. So, like I said, I much prefer to look. If you missed out on this time, don't stress. When Volume 2 comes out, Volume 1 will be available.
Yeah, that's
But I
great.
like clean breaks because a lot of my books go into. I've got a publisher in Australia who distributes for me as well. So when I'm finished, it usually goes straight into distribution. So, um,
Oh,
so
and
for
then
example, if you all my books are Book Depository, Amazon, it basically once it's done, it all feeds into the standard book ecosystem. Like I think one of my books, Wordsmith, is now in 500 something libraries. I don't
mhm.
think it's in. I think the only country library is in is UK, but because it's a distributed book, it gets access to a lot of different markets. So that's how come I need to kind of end it so that I can kind of push it out that way.
Yeah, man, that's great. I mean, you already get well, you already funded your book, right? So that's great, and it's only 6 days left, so people can still jump on board, and
Yep.
and then maybe, just maybe, you're going into print or extended. So just that's a big maybe. So if you are going into print, when do people get their books approximately?
Oh, look, it's if it helps, it's not me. If you were in Australia, you
Oh
get
yeah.
it pretty quickly because as soon as I get the first layouts for printing, I send it to get approved copy. You get it takes about 2 weeks to get approved.
Hmm.
Once the proof has been changed and approved, it takes about another 4 to 6 weeks to get the full print run done. It's just normal printing timing.
Yeah.
Once that's done, I will ship as soon as I can. The issue that I have is, and this is what I found in Terra Olympus, if you were in the US or UK, usually you get the book once I shipped in about 3 weeks. What I found is because of the way the world is now, some of the books were taking 2, 3 months. Like I think Terra Olympus, I shipped some in April, and somebody in September said I finally got it. It's like, and I was saying, I can say, look, that's they actually shut down in terms of mail when the pandemic hit. They shut down all airmail at one stage in Australia, where all mail were only going out through sea, which means it's a 3-month wait. So when it's ready, I'm hoping the world will be a little bit more open by then. And if it is, you'll get it really quickly within a couple of weeks. If it's not, it takes about 2 or 3 months to ship. But
Yeah.
don't stress. It's definitely coming. It's when I ship, it's definitely there. If you go for original art tier, you get it tracked anyway, so you can see, as it works its way through the world.
Mhm.
You get the tracking number, but it's on its way. It's just it takes
Fantastic.
the world.
Yeah.
The world is a different place right now in terms of.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
When people ask me on the stream, I was at howtodrawcomics.net with Kozor, and maybe you can add my campaign. And
Sure.
he
Quick
said,
second.
well, when are you going to ship? Well, we are still in the funding process, but if it's going to be funded, we try to, how do you say, also with COVID, with New Year's Eve, the whole shebang, the book is still needs to be made. So I said maybe 5 or 6 months, then we're going to ship. I think that's a reasonable expectation. Otherwise, it's you're going to promise people, and then people are going to be unhappy, and they ask, "Hey, where's my book?" And you said this, and you said that. So I rather extend it a little bit, and if you're gonna ship early, then we're gonna inform the people for, hey, listen, our book is done. We're gonna print it and go to shipping, so that everybody gets that. But if you promise things too soon, and like you said, Stephen, we're living in a different age now. We don't know what's happened this year or next year. Maybe it's going to be worse with the postage, with a lot of things. People can lose their jobs. You know what? And we have to be careful with that. Exactly. But you have done this for a long time. This is your 4th campaign, so there's going to be a 5th campaign, or a 6th, or a 7th, probably. So that's great. So this is my campaign, Black
yeah.
Heart Matter. You see?
I do have questions about your campaign,
Oh,
which like I told you, I did read through it. I read. So, are you going to keep it black and white, or are you planning to go into color, like the
well,
internals?
yeah, that's a good question. We wanted to keep it black and white because I think it adds more, and for this comic, to the atmosphere. What I'm trying to think more in the future, if we succeed, and there's going to be a volume 3 or volume 4, we don't know that yet. But the first book, The Deep Dark, is also black and white, and this brand, The Call of the Void. We wanted to bring back the horror, like you said, like Marvel and DC, with the black and white stories, with creepy images, and the format is also bigger. It's more like a European style, like more magazine style, by the way. I'm not sure if you know the comics Eerie and Creepy from
Yes,
years
I
ago.
do.
Those are bigger. We're gonna do something like that. It's gonna be
Can I
big.
make one suggestion? And I'm going to share my screen again for 1 second. And again,
Sure.
look, the good thing about your artwork is your artist that you pick, he does really, really detailed pencils. So let me just
Yeah.
share
Yeah. Yeah.
share one thing with you. This is
Sure.
done already, but I want to share it with you because I do want to show you something.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when you're printing, especially when you're printing black and white, it doesn't cost. When you print black and white to color usually costs about twice as much to print. So you know how some people have black and white comics with a splash of red or a splash of color. Those is actually a very, very expensive option because it's supposed to print color. But one thing I was going to say to you guys is it's not that much that expensive. But have you thought about like grayscaling like this? Because it keeps that black and white. It keeps that, you can see in the background here, that
Right.
grayscale
Yeah.
color. It gives that grittiness to the book. It adds that shadow. It adds that little bit of more texture
Yeah.
into it. And you're not going full color. And as you can see all the shadows in here, and it changes especially like this one is meant to be a horror, like not it's not a horror comic, but space is meant to be very dark. It's meant to be
Exactly.
or a horror comic, and I'll show you like this one. again, it's not too much more. You can kind of see a bit of gradient in there,
Yeah, see
but
the difference. Yeah.
that little bit of extra, I'll stop from now, but that little bit of extra black and white, especially for horror, I'm thinking you guys can, it will really, really amp it up. And
Yeah.
the thing about black and white is um, it's very difficult to tell night and day from black and white comics. I'm sorry, it just is. Like with normal comics, you can have sunlight and beams and have the lighting tell you whether it's night and day, if you're in a party or whether it's you're in a room, how it's lit up that way. Like look at your first scene here. You can see it's on fire, which is incredible. But because there's no grayscale on the background, it's hard for like just from looking at this one page for you to tell is this happening during the day or is this happening during the night.
Yeah.
And if you grayscale it, if you make the, if it was intentionally grayscale and the background is more whitish, you can kind of tell, oh, the fire is happening during the day. Now, if it's that that starry night, that darkish background, you can then you have that loop over where the flames are coming up. You can kind of add color without having to add color, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly. Grayscale can add up. I'm gonna pass your context to the to my artist GLJ.
Oh look, I can't grace. If you want, I'll send you the guy who did my grayscale. I'm not a colorist. I can letter for you, but I can't color for you. But it
Well,
adds
yeah.
yeah, like for example, it really adds that additional dimension through that. It just gives that more depth and shadow. And the great thing about I love the artwork. It's so well penciled and it's so detailed.
Yeah.
Having that additional shadow of the grayscale. And the good thing about it is like you can kind of tell now when you see the moon that's there that it's nighttime. But in that first original image, unless you have the context, you couldn't tell whether it was day or night. And so and the thing is, having that grayscale as well, like imagine around the fire, because when you have fire, if you have a little bit more of a lighter texture around it, oh man, that would look so awesome. And it's just a suggestion. If you want to
welcome any suggestion, man. That's great.
Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah, but yeah, it's great what we are doing. I mean, I love horror. I love also science fiction. That is why your book is also interesting to me. What we are doing is a 40-page black and white, maybe with grayscale. Who knows?
It doesn't cost any more to print grayscale. That's the most awesome thing, because if you know it, black and white is about half the price to print.
Yeah.
Putting that grayscale in doesn't increase your printing price, which is why some. But I think with a good horror comic, having that grayscale, having that additional shadows into there, would make it amazing. And it lends to your line work. The line work in here is so detailed. Having that bit more shadow in there, oh man, it's fantastic right now, but it will take it to the next level fantastic.
Yeah, cool. I will pass it on, man.
The whole point is you've actually done a little bit of grayscale. Like if you notice where the mat is, where they are just about to fight.
Yeah.
That mat is nicely grayscale because you can see there's a gradient of color. It's not just a flat gray or whatever. You can see that where the light source is. Yeah. And you can kind of see when you do that, it draws the viewer's attention to that center of the mat because of where that light source is. It's I don't know if you guys can. I think whoever did this intentionally did it because you want your attention focused right in the center. And the way you've grayscaled that mat, it draws your attention into that center. That's where the effect of grayscale is so powerful. And you don't need to do it for every panel. You just kind of insert it as you need it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
But you can kind of see that final panel you're looking at. Where does your eye right into? Right into that center.
Yeah, to the center. I mean,
right into the center. Automatically, you just go, gosh, what's happening right there?
Cool. Yeah, exactly. And so, are you a horror fan or not?
Oh, my wife hates it. I love horror movies.
Right.
I love and this is why Your project interests me. The last two series which I've watched, which I actually really enjoyed, is House on Haunted Hill,
Oh,
the
yeah.
Netflix one, and the other one is the House of Bly Manor, another Netflix one. They're both the ghost, the psychological horror movies,
Yeah.
the ghost stories ones.
That's
And
what we implemented
yeah,
here as well, a little bit more psychological, but also visceral horror.
yeah.
Can you maybe scroll a little bit down and show people what we are
Oh,
doing? But yes,
I,
Stephen.
I, I love slasher films, don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
they don't scare me. Like somebody getting your arms ripped off or whatever. It sounds bad, but you get desensitized to it after a while. You get the initial, oh my God, the gore hit. And then afterwards, it's just like an action movie with a lot of violence.
Yeah.
Um, like, um, like, for example, when I was a kid, the movie that messed me up the most was still The Sixth Sense. And in The Sixth Sense, there's very little violence in it.
Yeah,
But
it's more psychological what you are saying.
but psychologically it messes you up. But man, I love the artwork. I think you've definitely picked the absolute right artist for this.
Thanks,
And
man. I'm very happy with him. Yeah. He knocks it out of the park with the visuals and his
yeah,
style. I especially love this shot when the car is driving to the manor, and then we have all the clouds here, and a little
yeah,
bit closing in onto the house. It's
yeah,
Of course that's not the case, but that's the visual style that he has, and with the
yeah,
creepy tree here, there's a lot of detail, and a water fountain in the middle. Yeah, it's great.
yeah.
Yeah,
I look his pencil like the pencil work. Like look at the tree on the right. That tree, the way it's been etched in, that's fantastic.
yeah. Yeah, when I saw this page for the first time, I watched it the whole time and then going back and forth and looking at all the small details. I mean, yeah, I love this. And I think people will love the whole comic. It's not only, the passion that we are bringing it's what I didn't tell in the other stream is that I talked about the family aspect of the people of the fire team that they are close and they have real emotions and real characters. But what's happening in the mansion is something different. There's a cult. It's the cult of the Black Sunrise. And we have a monster there or something that is not supposed to be there, and it wants something. And what it is, I can't show, of course, because we still in the developing stage. I wish I had more art to share and stories, but at this point I cannot. But let's say people will be surprised, and I believe the ending is something that people will talking about. It's that
Awesome.
out of this world. Yeah, it's
Oh,
gonna be a
fantastic.
surprise, man. It's things are not what you are expecting or what you are seeing, because when the fire team is going into the house, they are going to a corridor and there is a painting, and we have also a cover that is a painting, and so it represents that a little bit. And the painting has a purpose as well. What the purpose is, of course, I cannot tell. But let's see, people are going to die, and that's just also a perk that we have. It's our most expensive perk, but I think one of the best perks. If you so, what the perk is basically is that people can not only draw themselves, my artist is drawing them in, but they also have dialogue. So you
Oh
become
wow.
part of the story, and not only that, you are becoming a part of the team, and you're going with the team into the house, and then people die.
That's pretty
Who are
cool.
dying? I'm not telling, because that'd be a surprise. Maybe one of the cast will, survive. Probably not.
But if you pay for it, at least you will die.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's only we have two perks. One is already sold, and I think people will be very, very happy with this, and they get a lot of perks with that. You get the covers with the Virgin covers. You get an exclusive bookmark. You get a nice print, by the way, and the print is also looks like speaking of slashers and horror movies. The print looks, there's a little bit small here, but it looks like a cover of a horror movie. And there's a lot of detail if you see behind it with the negative space. I love this perk. It's very retro. I wish they
I
make
like
it.
this. I like this. That's really cool.
Yeah, and we had, let me see, I believe we are How many percent are we right now, Base Marine? Can you?
Oh, and if you
I'm
go
taking a
up,
look for you.
Yeah, we
You're
are still
84%.
84.
there. 84%.
47
Okay.
people and 84%. Oh, look,
Yeah,
you reach it without, and look, and I'll be more than happy to share yours around as well. So look, you definitely reach yours
yeah. Thank you.
too much pressure.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I love what we are doing. I'm very proud of what we accomplished so far, and I think people will love this book. We have of course the digital perks, and we have the perks that you can get the whole bundle from
I
the
see
first
you
volume.
already extended it as well to 60 days.
If we're gonna make it, yes, yes. No, then we're gonna go into demand. Yes. So that
Just curiously, what is your role between, say, you and Gilbert? Like, whose story was this? Are you guys working together on it? How did you guys creatively work to get the story up?
Yeah, that's a good question. I pitched my idea to Gilbert because I was a big fan of what he is doing with his books, with Grom, with the first volume of this horror genre, the Call of the Void series. I love the art, and I always wanted to do something, and I wrote a lot on paper, and then I decided, you know what, I'm going to do it. So I asked Gilbert to look at what I created. So I created the story, the background, the firefighters, the whole shebang, everything that is here, that's mine. And of course, we changed a lot through the process. And then Gilbert said, you know what, this is exactly what we envisioned with the horror line that we are doing. Would you become a part of the story? And I said, yes, of course. So I jumped in, and we worked together, all three of us, and then Black Hawk Manor is created.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah, so
Is
it's
this your first one?
yes, this is my very first project. So yeah, I always said, I'm just writing, and then, well, it is, how do you say it, sometimes people have a lot of ideas, and that's it. They go through that, and I'm was one of those guys, until I decided, you know what, I've waited long enough, and I just need to pull the trigger, and that's what I did. And Gilbert jumped on this project as a hungry wolf, because he liked directly, or what I created, and I'm very happy that he said yes, because he was my first pick for
Oh,
doing. Yeah, that's
fantastic.
it. He was the first that I approached, and I said, you know what, I got this fantastic idea. I wanted to get this out there in people's hands. I want to have them to read it and love it. And he was in love with it immediately. And then, yeah, we became partners in crime. Well, in horror in
Oh,
this case. Yeah.
fantastic. That actually reminds me. That's actually a very famous Van Gogh quote for what you've just said. I think the quote is, and if I get this quote wrong, please, check the right
Yeah.
quote. But Van Gogh said something along the lines of, "I am always doing what I cannot do yet in order to learn how to do it." So, and it's very much what you said is like, look, nobody knows how to do things the first time. They just do it. They make the mistakes. Um, they just muddle their way along. But if you don't do it, you'll never get the next step of getting better, and then the
That's
next
it.
step of getting better still. So, I'm really glad you took the plunge with this one, because we
Yeah.
need more good horror stories. We definitely need more good horror stories out there. There's not
Yeah.
enough of them.
No, I agree, and that's why I decided to do that. And thank you for your kind words. And yeah, it's exactly what you are said. Sometimes you have to take a plunge and hope that it works out for the best. And I'm pushing this really hard. And of course there will be mistakes made, and I have learned a lot from the whole process, how to crowdfunding, what to expect, how to approach people. It's a process. Basically, it's a second job. I mean,
Oh,
this is
it is. It
and I'm
is.
here with you, and you promoting your work, I'm promoting my work, and that's how we do it, man. And we need to
Yeah,
promote each other and help each other to reach our goals. It's great.
definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, look, it's past. I think it's almost hitting 1
Yeah,
a.m.
you
for me.
that,
So
man.
so unfortunately, I have got to get up for work tomorrow. But look, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
But I have to go get. Like, I hate the time zones. I know we could
I
keep
really hate
talking
it
for
too.
hours and hours, but
Yeah.
If I don't
Hey,
get
listen,
to sleep,
if
I'm not
I
getting
can
up.
go in your time zone, and then I'm going to be in midnight streaming with you, and you have a breakfast the other way around, I'm happy to do that, man. And thank you for
Not a
being
problem.
here on the show.
Okay, thank you for having me. Appreciate
Okay,
it.
Yeah. Bye.
Yeah.
bye. Bye,
Thanks.
everybody. Thanks for watching. Till next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. And for everybody here, back the book.
Yeah, that's the most about. Back
Both.
Transhuman and back, well, my book, Black Heart Matter. See you next
And of
time.
course, if you like this talk, check out SK on Twitter as well.
Yep, follow him.
He's quite active. So.
Yeah, back his book. Okay, bye, guys. Till next time.